Hello and welcome everyone on this YouTube platform of IQCivils IAS Academy. Finally, welcome back in the session of GS Paper 2 Analysis Part 2. In the previous session, we have discussed 10 questions with respect to GS Paper 2, that is Indian polity, constitution, governance, social justice, and international relations. So in this session, I will be discussing remaining 10 questions. That means from question number 11 till question number 20. Okay. So again, I would like to tell you all that the new batches are going to start from 25th of September and another batch on 30th September. तो जल्द से जल्द आप अपना नाम एनरोल करवा सकते हैं जितने लोग तैयारी करना चाहते हैं और जो कर रहे हैं जिन्हें डायरेक्शन सही नहीं मिली वो भी तैयारी कर सकते हैं ओके नाउ तो जैसा कि आप देख सकते हैं इट इज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट प्रीशियस थिंग्स किसी भी इंस्टीट्यूट के लिए अच्छे रिव्यूज होना ओके काफी सारे सिलेक्शंस दिए हैं हमारे यहाँ से IQ सिविल्स IAS एकेडमी से तो जितने लोग अपनी तैयारी को अपने प्रिपरेशन को एक नया डायरेक्शन एक नई दिशा देना चाहते हैं वो जल्द से जल्द एनरोल करें तो फिर से अब हम आते हैं GS पेपर 2 एनालिसिस पर सो इन दिस GS पेपर 2 analysis. So, in the previous session, we have discussed 10 questions. So, today in this session, I'll be discussing remaining 10 questions. Okay, so the question number 11, if you see, the Constitution of India is a living instrument, okay, with capabilities of enormous dynamism, full stop. It is a constitution made for a progressive society. Such a beautiful context here with respect to constitution. Okay, now what is the demand of the question? You have to illustrate with special reference to the expanding horizons of the right to life and personal liberty. So from question number 11 till question number 20, the marks that consist in mains examination, that is 15 marks. Okay, तो अब हम बात करेंगे फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल दिस क्वेश्चन इज रिलेटेड टू Indian Constitution as well as polity, both. Clear? So now first of all we'll talk about the Indian Constitution. Now if you see Indian Constitution is evolutionary in structure. Okay, so how to write introduction first? Okay, so introduction बहुत ही अच्छा आप इसमें लिख सकते हैं क्योंकि काफी सारा कंटेंट आपके पास होता है जब आप तैयारी शुरू करते हैं जब आप कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को समझना शुरू करते हैं तो आपके पास काफी ज्यादा कंटेंट होता है गेटिंग माय पॉइंट ऐसे क्वेश्चंस को लिखने के लिए क्लियर नाउ अब इंट्रोडक्शन में आप लिख सकते हैं दैट इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इज समथिंग इवोल्यूशनरी इन नेचर ऑर्गेनिक डॉक्यूमेंट and in practice also, and it should be viewed not merely as law but it is also a source of foundational concept. So our constitution is also a source of foundational concept. Okay, foundational concept, and that is true also. Okay, that is true also. Okay, so it should not be viewed as only law. It should be a source of. It is a source of foundational concepts for the governing of society. And this feature is accommodated under Article 368 of the Constitution. Article 368 is related to constitutional amendment process. Constitutional amendment. So it is related to constitutional amendment. Okay. So this feature is accommodated under Article 368 of the Indian Constitution. Now, first of all, let me tell you the question is asking now what you should mention in body of the answer. Now, body of the answer, if you see, various amendments are there, okay, which showcase the flexibility of Indian Constitution. There are various amendments, okay, various amendments which shows flexibility of Indian Constitution. Okay. Now, first of all, let me tell you, uh, okay, now, first important thing is restricting absolute freedom. Yes, restricting absolute freedom. Now, try to understand through First Amendment Act, which restricted the scope of Article 19. तो आप में से जितने लोगों ने ये चीज पढ़ी हुई है, okay, that through First Amendment, okay, which restricted the scope of Article 19. Getting my point? This is one of the most important thing that you should know. Then our constitution also accommodating linguistic diversity. Linguistic diversity. Now, when I say linguistic diversity, that means it is through Seventh Amendment. Okay, Seventh Amendment Act. Now, this Seventh Amendment Act accommodating linguistic diversity and regional aspirations. Okay, then if you see 25th Amendment. Okay, so this made a way for land reforms. Way for land reforms. Okay, so through 25th Amendment Act, okay, which imposed restrictions on property rights. So this amendment imposed restrictions on property rights. Clear? So these are the things that you have to tell. Then पंचायती राज इंस्टीट्यूशन आप इसमें मेंशन करिए पीआरआईज को भी Panchayati Raj institutions, okay, through 73rd Amendment. That is also very true, okay, because it deepening the political empowerment. And then with the introduction of GST, so GST was introduced with 101st Amendment Act, okay. So this is considered as adapting to economic changes. Getting my point? Adapting to economic changes. Clear? These are the things. And apart from this, various visionary articles are present under DPSP as well. Okay, which requires the government so that they can take steps in the future as the need arrives. For example, government is planning. So, with respect to if you see DPSP, so with respect to DPSP Article 44, government is planning to bring uniform civil code. Okay, then article number 47, which is also very important. This is related to UCC. Then article number 47, if you see, article number 47 says that to raise the level of nutrition and standard of living of the people, as India became fifth largest economy in the world. Okay, so this talks about the raise the level of nutrition and standard of living. Clear? Then article 48. अब आर्टिकल 48A क्या कहता है? This article says that to protect and improve the environment and safeguard the forest and wildlife of the country. Now, this article is important. Why? Because it becomes important in the era of climate change and sustainable development. तो ये आज important है because this is the era of climate change and sustainable development. Clear? These are the things that you should understand. Okay. Then free and compulsory education under Article 45. That is also very true. Okay. Which leads to the amendment of 86th Amendment Act. 86th Amendment Act. Okay. Now this Amendment Act due to Article 45. See the changes. So the question here is asking with the reference to, okay, right to life and personal liberty. Okay, that means it is trying to showcase Article 21. Okay, so this question is trying to showcase Article 21. ओके आर्टिकल 21। तो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट जो केस आया अगर आप देखें जो इवोल्यूशन है दैट इज मेनका गांधी केस। मेनका गांधी केस वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। ओके 1978 का ये जो केस है दिस केस इंट्रोड्यूस द कॉन्सेप्ट ड्यू प्रोसेस ऑफ लॉ। गेटिंग माय पॉइंट दैट इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग। देन right to privacy was incorporated in 2017 incorporation to or incorporation of right to privacy. Okay, now right to privacy कौन सा जजमेंट आया था पुट टू स्वामी जजमेंट। getting my point then there are other issues also. Now why this incorporation of right to privacy came because of changing dynamics of digital society. Okay, then right to die with dignity also, right to death also, right to die with dignity. This is also very important. Then Navtej Singh case, LGBT, okay, LGBT rights का, getting my point. Then एक केस था 1985 का, वो भी आप मेंशन कर सकते हैं, जिस केस का नाम था ओल्गा टेलिस वर्सेस बॉम्बे म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन बीएमसी। एंड ये केस इसलिए इंपॉर्टेंट है बिकॉज दिस मेड राइट टू लाइवलीहुड इज एन इंटीग्रल पार्ट ऑफ द राइट टू लाइफ। सो दिस इज ऑल्सो रिलेटेड टू आर्टिकल 21 ओनली। इतनी सारी चीजें आप जब मेंशन करोगे 250 वर्ड्स हो गया एंड देन एट लास्ट यू कैन राइट द कंक्लूजन that these these things showcase the dynamic nature of our Indian constitution. Okay, so its ability to evolve in response to the changing dynamics of society, politics, and economy. Okay, that is very important. Okay, so this is why that is why they reflect the commitment of the constitutions to uphold democratic values, social justice, and inclusivity. So this is how you should write this answer. I hope this much is clear. Now another question: explain the constitutional perspective of gender justice. Okay, with the help of relevant constitutional provisions and case laws. Yes, this is also 15 mark question, and this question is also related to Indian polity and constitution. Okay, Indian polity and constitution. Now the first thing that they ask about gender justice, तो पहले तो इंट्रोडक्शन में आप क्या लिखोगे? इंट्रोडक्शन में आप समझाइए जेंडर जस्टिस के बारे में, that what is gender justice. So gender justice is created to promote equitable development opportunities for all the irrespective of biological sex, and these principles are enshrined in our constitution also, because in our constitution there are three important values. अब three important values constitution में कौन सी हैं? Liberty, equality and freedom. Liberty, okay, equality and freedom. Clear? This is the important thing. Now, there are various constitutional perspectives and case laws of gender justice. In the body of the answer, you have to mention constitutional perspectives, okay, of gender justice and case laws of gender justice. Okay, so there are various things like, first of all, preamble is very important. नाउ अब आप सोचेंगे प्रियम्बल कैसे? प्रियम्बल टॉक्स अबाउट इक्वालिटी, जस्टिस, लिबर्टी, फ्रीडम, यूनिवर्सल वैल्यूज. So these are some universal values which ensure dignity of the individual. Then if you see fundamental rights, so fundamental rights में आर्टिकल 14 से लेकर आर्टिकल 35 तक, okay, which talks about right to equality, freedom, education, are all gender neutral, and these rights are procedural and substantive, and also formal and real in nature. So you have to mention all these things. Then apart from this, you can mention article 15 subclause 3 separately. Why? Because article 15 subclause 3 empowers the state to make law for the benefit of women. Okay. Then apart from this, you can mention right to livelihood and equality of opportunity. Right to livelihood and equality of opportunity. Clear? Now, right to livelihood and equality of opportunity. That is also very important. For example, creation of self-help groups, SSGs. Then you can mention Article 21 also, right to life and liberty. Okay. So, for example, termination of virginity test for women, rights of reproductive choice for women. Okay. These things are very important under Article 21. Okay. And then Shah Bano case with respect to triple talaq. Then apart from this, you can mention right to property. Okay. Right to property. Clear? Then you can mention Article 23 as well. Article 23, which talks about abolition of human trafficking, largely helped women to move out of sexual trafficking and slave trade. Clear? See, कितनी सारी चीजें आपके पास लिखने के लिए. Then you can mention about DPSP. इसमें आपके पास ample of literature है बताने के लिए. Okay. For example, protective discrimination through affirmative action. For example, equal pay for equal work. Article 39D आप mention कर सकते हैं. Clear? Then you can mention just and humane condition for work, gender neutral, that is Article 42. You can mention. Clear? Like maternity relief, okay? Vishakha guidelines, I think. Then apart from DPSP, fundamental duties are also there. Fundamental duties, which talks about renounce the derogatory practices for women, ensure us just and safe society for women. Okay, ये सारी चीजें हो गई. Then you can talk about adult suffrage under Article 325 and 326. So political participation in exercising the right to vote and also the power sharing, decision making, okay, co-policy making at all the levels of government. This is also very important. Then local level governance. Local level governance is also very important. Article 73 and 74. Okay, so first of all, 73rd Amendment and 74th Amendment, which is very important, which represents local self-governing institutions. Okay, so these are the things that you can mention, and at last you can mention the conclusion. Okay, that through our constitution we can achieve gender justice, and we can also achieve sustainable development goal 5, 10, and removing overall inequality. Clear? So these things will make truly real things, real values of our democracy. And in this manner, India will become democracy inclusive and make democracy as a way of life. So this is how you should present your views. Okay, remember this thing. Clear? Then another question, question number 13. Now, question number 13, this question is saying that account for the legal and political factors responsible for the reduced frequency of using Article 356 by Union government since mid 1990s. Yes. नाउ फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मैं कुछ आपको बता देना चाहता हूं कि इंट्रोडक्शन इसका कैसे लिखोगे. नाउ दिस क्वेश्चन इज समथिंग रिलेटेड टू आर्टिकल 356. ओके. नाउ इंट्रोडक्शन आप स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं बी आर अंबेडकर के थ्रू. तो जब प्रोविजंस प्रेसिडेंट रूल से रिलेटेड डिस्कस किए जा रहे थे, ओके, कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली में, at that time, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar observed that the drastic power which is conferred under Article 356 would remain a dead letter. ओके. और आर्टिकल 356 को, तो यहां पर आप डॉक्टर बी आर अंबेडकर के थॉट्स लिख सकते हैं. समझ में आ रहा है? So Dr. B.R. Ambedkar ने कहा कि that Article 356 would be used only as a measure of last resort. ओके. बट अब हुआ क्या आर्टिकल 356 को डेडली वेपन की तरह यूज किया जाने लगा रूलिंग पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज के द्वारा. ओके. So these provisions have become deadly weapon against those ruling political parties in the states which are different from the one at the center. For example, if in center BJP is there और अगर स्टेट में कांग्रेस है, then it will be used by the center against Congress. Getting my point? So this became a deadly weapon tool after the emergence of regional parties in late 1990s and after 1960s also. So actually this tradition of Article 356 starts after 1960s. Okay. So the frequency of use of Article 356 has reduced now. Okay. अब जो फ्रीक्वेंसी है आर्टिकल 356 की वो बहुत कम हो गई है. अब इसके पीछे कौन से लीगल और पॉलिटिकल फैक्टर्स हैं ये बताना है. गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? तो आपको आंसर कनेक्टिविटी में लिखना है. सो व्हाट आर द लीगल फैक्टर्स? ओके. नाउ सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट आप जजमेंट बताइए सुप्रीम कोर्ट का. कौन सा? एस आर बोम्माई केस. ओके. एस आर बोम्माई केस. नाउ एस आर बोम्माई केस आप बताइए. डिसीजन टू इम्पोज प्रेसिडेंट रूल वाज सब्जेक्टेड टू जुडिशियल रिव्यू. कि अब अगर आप प्रेसिडेंट रूल लगाएंगे सो इट इज सब्जेक्टेड टू जुडिशियल रिव्यू एंड फ्लोर टेस्ट अप्रोप्रिएट होना चाहिए जो डिसाइड करेगा मेजोरिटी. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस जुडिशरी ने बहुत सारे अदर मेजर्स लिए. जुडिशियल एक्टिविज्म. नाउ जुडिशियल एक्टिविज्म which increase judicial activism and judiciary का जो emphasis है फेडरलिज्म को लेकर, that is considered as a basic structure of the constitution which has restrained the central government in misusing the provision of article 356. Clear? Then पॉलिटिकल अवेयरनेस अब लोगों में बढ़ चुकी है. इंक्रीज्ड पॉलिटिकल अवेयरनेस. नाउ इंक्रीज पॉलिटिकल अवेयरनेस अमंग सिटीजंस. सो इफ मिसयूज ऑफ आर्टिकल 356 इज देयर, ओके, इलेक्टोरल में, तो लोग भी इस चीज को ध्यान रखते हैं क्योंकि वोट लोगों को ही देना है एट लास्ट. देन इंटर स्टेट काउंसिल्स. फॉर्मेशन ऑफ इंटर स्टेट काउंसिल्स. नाउ फॉर्मेशन ऑफ interstate councils, this resulted into the cooperation between union and state government. Now you will see that now union and state governments are cooperating with each other. Clear? That is also very important. Now apart from this there are some political factors. Now what are the political factors? Now अब political factors क्या हो सकते हैं? First of all, active role of president. You can mention this thing. Okay. Now, former President K.R. Narayan in 1997, he returned the decision of cabinet imposing the present rule in state of यूपी. इन्होंने के आर नारायण ने रिटर्न कर दिया था डिसीजन को कि इम्पोज नहीं किया जाएगा 1997 में. दिस शोज दैट द एक्टिव रोल ऑफ प्रेसिडेंट. ओके. देन प्रेजेंस ऑफ कोलिशन गवर्नमेंट. नाउ प्रेजेंस ऑफ कोलिशन गवर्नमेंट. So central government जो है during 1990s it was deeply fragmented among different regional and national parties, and this influenced decision making. Okay, against decision making, and also this acted as a restraint against the usage of article 356. Then look out for regional allies. Now, due to volatile nature of Indian polity and increasing opportunism, so national parties, they were always on a lookout for regional allies. ये हमेशा चाहते हैं रीजनल अलाइज हो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट. ओके. तो इससे भी कहीं ना कहीं आर्टिकल 356 वेरी कर रहा है, कम हुआ है. क्लियर. देन फॉर्मर, और यू कैन से फॉलोइंग द स्पिरिट ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनलिज्म बाय गवर्नर. ओके. बाय गवर्नर. नाउ ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड. ओके. नाउ अब बहुत सारे ऐसे केसेस आ चुके हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल फॉर्मर गवर्नर ऑफ तमिलनाडु सुरजीत सिंह बरनाला. ओके. ही रिफ्यूज टू सेंड अ रिपोर्ट टू सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट रिकमेंडिंग प्रेजेंट रूल इन द स्टेट. उन्होंने मना कर दिया था गवर्नर ने कि हम नहीं भेजेंगे प्रेजेंट रूल के लिए स्टेट में. गेटिंग माय पॉइंट. तो गवर्नर भी कहीं ना कहीं में देखने को मिला है, गवर्नर्स आर आल्सो फॉलोइंग द स्पिरिट ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनलिज्म. Now, based on these factors, you can conclude your answers that these factors collectively emphasize the importance of preserving democratic principles and India's federalism. Okay. So, making the arbitrary use of Article 356 is now less frequent, and this is more challenging. So, federal spirit of the Constitution needs to be protected. Okay, with a collaborative and cooperative approach between union and state governments. Clear? So, this is how you should write this answer. Okay. Now, another question. This is also related to polity and constitution. Okay. Why? Because this is something which is related to state legislatures. So the question here is asking, discuss the contribution of civil society groups for women's effective and meaningful participation and representation in state legislatures in India. Getting my point? Now, first of all, introduction is very simple because the keyword of the main question here is very simple. Now, what is the keyword here is, तो अब यहाँ पर कीवर्ड क्या है? यहाँ पर कीवर्ड है कि आप सिविल सोसाइटी को पहले आप एक्सप्लेन करें इंट्रोडक्शन में. ओके. नाउ अब सिविल सोसाइटी को आप एक्सप्लेन कर दो. सिंपल. यू हैव टू डिफाइन सिविल सोसाइटी. ओके. नाउ सिविल सोसाइटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन क्या होता है? इट इज एनी नॉन प्रॉफिट वॉलेंटरी सिटीजन ग्रुप, okay, which is organized on local as well as national level. Now, what are the contribution of civil society groups in participation and representation in state legislature? तो अब इनका आपको contribution बताना है. तो in the body of the answer, you have to mention about their contribution in state legislature. Okay, SL represents state legislature. Clear? So the role of civil society organizations, okay, they play important role in increasing the participation of women in the state legislature through various campaigns. तो इन्होंने काफी सारे कैंपेन्स चलाए, फॉर एग्जाम्पल अवेयरनेस कैंपेन्स, ओके, अवेयरनेस कैंपेन, सो वेरियस एनजीओज विच लीड्स एडवोकेसी कैंपेन फॉर कि विमेन का पार्टिसिपेशन होना चाहिए पॉलिटिक्स में। देन एसोसिएशन ऑफ डेमोक्रेटिक रिफॉर्म्स, नाउ एसोसिएशन ऑफ डेमोक्रेटिक रिफॉर्म्स, नाउ ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड, ओके। अब ये जो है एसोसिएशन ऑफ डेमोक्रेटिक रिफॉर्म एडीआर, दिस एजुकेट्स विमेन पार्टिसिपेशन इन इलेक्शन, और ये भी इनकरेज करता है कि ज्यादा से ज्यादा वोटर्स पार्टिसिपेट करें। क्लियर? Then, apart from this, various other campaigns has been launched in support of women reservation bill. अब जैसा कि आपको पता है that 3 days ago that women reservation bill has been passed. Now it becomes an act in for parliament state legislature. Getting my point? तो बहुत सारे इसके पीछे एजिटेशंस हुए थे, एजिटेशंस लाइक आपने नाम सुना होगा के कविता, एंड शी लेड एक्चुअली भारत जागृति, भारत जागृति, clear? So this has led various agitations in favor of implementing women reservation bill, okay. Then capacity building program and training of women, that is also very important, capacity building programs and training of women, okay. So for example, National Foundation for India promotes leadership among women and by providing awards, opportunities, all these things. Clear? Then research and data collection is also very important. Research and data collection. Now research and data collection, बहुत सारे ऐसे एनजीओज हैं जो रिसर्च और डेटा कलेक्ट करते हैं विमेन पॉलिटिकल पार्टिसिपेशन पर, रिप्रेजेंटेशन और उनके चैलेंजेस पर। इसीलिए एक ग्रुप बना है जिसका नाम है सेंट्रल फॉर सोशल रिसर्च। सो देयर इज अ ग्रुप कॉल्ड एज सेंटर फॉर सोशल रिसर्च, ओके। Now, this is an advocacy group for women, okay, which conduct research on status of women empowerment as well as inclusiveness, okay. Then, apart from this, grassroots mobilization is also there. तो बहुत सारे एनजीओज हैं जो इंश्योर करते हैं कि women who will become future leaders. So this is how the things are going on. So at last you can conclude your answer that through civil society organizations बहुत सारे efforts लिए गए हैं, various efforts have been taken like awareness raising, advocacy for policy reforms, capacity building, data collection, grassroots mobilization, all these things, okay, which increases or contribute towards participation and representation in state legislatures. Getting my point? This is the most important thing. I hope this much is clear. This question is very easy. Now, another question, question number 15. Explain the significance of 101 Constitutional Amendment Act. Okay. To what extent does it reflect the accommodative spirit of federalism? तो पहली चीज आपको ये तभी लिख पाओगे जब आपको पता होगा ये एक्ट किससे रिलेटेड है। दिस इज रिलेटेड टू समथिंग कॉल्ड एज जीएसटी, गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज टैक्स। क्लियर? नाउ दिस रिप्रेजेंट्स द स्पिरिट ऑफ फेडरलिज्म। सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आप इस अमेंडमेंट को समझाइए, ओके, इंट्रोडक्शन में। So in introduction, you have to mention about, you have to define something related to 101st Constitutional Amendment Act, okay, which consolidates all the previous indirect taxes on goods and services into a single tax. So this actually simplified taxation across the supply chain. Clear? And then body of the answer. Now in body of the answer, you have to tell the significance of this Constitution Amendment Act. You have to mention significance of 101 Constitutional Amendment Act. Now, what is the significance? Okay, why it is important? So, the first of all important thing is, uh, let me tell you. So the first of all important thing is harmonization of taxes. ओके, हार्मोनाइजेशन ऑफ टैक्सेस। तो जीएसटी का एम ये है कि वो पूरे जितने भी कॉम्प्लेक्स टैक्स स्ट्रक्चर है उसको सिंप्लीफाई करे। ओके, एंड शुड अंडर वन अम्ब्रेला टैक्स होना चाहिए। देन इकोनॉमिक इंटीग्रेशन इज द मेन रीजन। इकोनॉमिक integration, that is also very important. When I say economic integration, that means GST established a common market by facilitating the free flow of goods and services across the state borders, and which also reduce tax barriers. Clear? For example, a clothing manufacturer in Maharashtra can now easily sell its product in Gujarat without encountering state specific taxes. Clear? So this is something which is related to economic integration. Then revenue sharing. Revenue sharing. That is also very important. When I say revenue sharing, that means dual GST system. That means एक होता है CGST center, एक होता है SGST state. Getting my point? So this ensure both central and state government that they can share GST revenues and they can promote fiscal autonomy for the states. Then it will also reduce tax evasion. Okay, tax evasion. So GST introduced technology driven compliance, okay, which leads to better tax collection and also it reduced tax evasion. फॉर एग्जाम्पल अब हर चीज को ट्रैक किया जा सकता है थ्रू जीएसटीएन के थ्रू। ओके, जीएसटी नंबर जो है ये ट्रैक करता है ट्रांजैक्शन एंड इट आल्सो मैचेस इनवॉइसेस इलेक्ट्रॉनिकली। ओके, सो इट is very hard for the businesses to evade from taxes. Clear? Now, how GST is reflecting accommodative spirit of federalism. Okay, अब GST कैसे फेडरलिज्म की स्पिरिट दिखा रहा है? How GST is showing the spirit of federalism. Okay, spirit of federalism. Now there are various things. For example, GST Council is there. Now GST Council, that means Article 279A. So GST Council includes representatives from center as well as representatives from states. Remember this thing. So this is actually fostering cooperation and decision making in the GST regime. Then dual structure of GST. Dual structure, इसको आप मेंशन करिए like CGST, SGST. These things are there. Okay, then revenue sharing is also very important. Revenue sharing. Okay, then it also harmonizes tax rate. Harmonization of tax rates. That is also very important. Okay, so ये कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें हैं जो आपको पता होना चाहिए। देन इंटर स्टेट ट्रांजैक्शंस में हेल्प करता है। इंटर स्टेट ट्रांजैक्शंस, and you can also include various other points. Getting my point? So GST specially simplifies the compliance for businesses engaged in interstate transaction by providing a single GST registration for operations across multiple states. Getting my point? So at last you can conclude that GST जो है in India, it also shows federal cooperation through its council, okay, through collaborative decision making, through harmonization of tax rates, okay, which accommodates both central as well as state interest in this taxation regime. Clear? So this is very important. Okay. Now, another question, question number 16. Now, this question is related to something, the structure of parliamentary committee system. Now, this question is very simple. If you see the language of the question, explain the structure of the parliamentary committee system and how far have the financial committees helped in the institutionalization of Indian parliament. Getting my point? Okay, this is something very interesting they have asked. Now, this was there in the news as well. So, first of all, you have to mention introduction. Introduction तो लिखना ही लिखना है. Getting my point? इंट्रोडक्शन लिख दो, थोड़ा पार्लियामेंट्री कमेटी के बारे में एक्सप्लेन करो. ओके, कि पार्लियामेंट्री कमिटीज कैसे टूल हैं. ओके, बिकॉज इट इज नॉट feasible to discuss every topic on the floor of the house because of enormous amount of information. Okay, so that is why parliamentary committees जो हैं, these committees are established to investigate the issues of public interest in greater detail. Okay, and they also form expert opinions. So this is how you should introduce your answer. Then in the body of the answer, okay, what you should mention, what is the structure of parliamentary committee system in India? You have to mention the structure of parliamentary committee system in India. Clear? Structure of parliamentary committee system in India. Okay, so first of all, let me tell you there are two types of parliamentary committees. There are two types. Now, what are those two types? One is called as standing committees, which are permanent in nature. Another is ad hoc committee. जब जरूरत पड़ेगी तभी बनाई जाएंगी ad hoc committees. Whenever need, then these committees are established. Now, standing committees are permanent. These are permanent. Okay. These committees are constituted every year. हर साल इन कमिटी को बनाया जाता है, कंस्टिट्यूट किया जाता है, and they work on a continuation basis. So basically, these committees are classified into six categories. So these committees are classified into six categories. So for example, financial committees are there. Okay, financial committees are there. Then committees to enquire, inquiry committees, committee to enquire. Clear? Then departmental standing committee. Okay. Then committees to scrutinize. Clear? Then committees related to day-to-day business. Day-to-day business. These committees are also there. Getting my point? Then housekeeping committees are also there. Clear? So these things are very important. Then apart from this, ad hoc committees, these are temporary. Okay. So under this, so the principal ad hoc committees are select and joint committee on bills. So select and joint committee on bills. Okay. So these committees are further subdivided into inquiry committee and advisory committee. Getting my point? These are some of the important things. Now the question is asking how far have financial committees helped in institutionalization of Indian Parliament? So what is the role played by financial committees in institutionalization of Indian Parliament? Okay, so role of financial committees. Now role of financial committees when I say, okay, now how for example, PAC, Public Account Committee, which examines government expenditure and financial transactions, okay, with budgetary provisions and government policies. और इसी कमिटी ने, अगर आपको याद हो, एग्जामिन किया था 2G स्पेक्ट्रम एलोकेशन, कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स एक्सपेंडिचर. Getting my point? These things are very important. Okay. Then these financial committees also ensures efficient allocation of public funds. These ensures efficient allocation of public funds. This is also very important. Okay, it ensures efficient allocation of public funds. Clear? But if you see, if we go into the details, so they lack effectiveness due to various issues. For example, no mechanism is there to enforce the correct measure. Then all the expenditures are assessed after expenditures are done, post expenditure assessment, okay, which is already being done by the government. Clear? So these, and then the recommendations of these committees are advisory in nature, not binding on the government. So at last, you can conclude this answer by highlighting the significance of these committees, how these committees are strengthening the institutionalization of Indian Parliament, okay, and then how they utilize and the utilization of public funds. That is why these committees, you can mention, that is why these committees are rightly known as mini parliaments. Getting my point? Okay. Now, so I hope this much is clear. Then another question, question number 17, which is related to development and welfare schemes of for the vulnerable, by its nature are discriminatory in approach. Do you agree? Give reasons for your answer. So this is something related to your social justice. Okay, this is related to social justice. Now, first of all, how to write introduction. You can see, you can write introduction. अब आप इस आंसर में आप कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के साथ भी कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं इंट्रोडक्शन को. Okay, so introduction you can connect it with because it is related to something welfare schemes. Okay, so Constitution of India का aim क्या है? Welfare state बनाना. So you can connect with welfare state. You can start like this also. Okay, and what are then कैसे constitution करेगा? Through DPSP. Okay, and then preamble is also there. Clear? फिर आप इसी चीज को और थोड़ा सा एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हो. दीज प्रोविजंस enjoin the state, okay, as the that the primary responsibility of the state is to welfare of all the citizens, and in this effect welfare schemes, okay, through positive discriminatory approach, so that to ensure social justice, equality of status and opportunity for all the citizens. So this is how you can write down your introduction. Then in the body of the answer, okay, now in the body of the answer, what you are going to mention. So first you have to mention, um, for example, though the government has panned out various welfare schemes for uplifting the vulnerable sections, but they are found to be discriminatory in various ways. Okay, that government schemes are found discriminatory in various ways. Okay, this is important, in various ways. So schemes are found very discriminatory in nature. For example, कैसे आप इसको justify करोगे? You can mention targeted approach. Now targeted approach मतलब क्या है इसका? कैसे एक्सप्लेन करना है? So targeted approach सबसे फंडामेंटल चीज होती है वेलफेयर स्कीम्स के लिए, जो कि डिस्क्रिमिनेटरी मानी जाती है, बिकॉज इट ट्रीट्स it treats different segments of the population differently. Clear? Then stigmatization is there. Stigmatization. Now, कुछ welfare scheme ऐसी हैं, for example, some welfare schemes or welfare programs can stigmatize the recipients, okay, by signaling them as beneficiaries of aid, and this creates kind of stereotypes or negative perceptions. Getting my point? Then unintended consequences also. Unintended consequences. Now, discrimination जो है, it can also arise from different consequences, unintended consequences. For example, कोई एक ऐसी scheme बनाई गई which is benefit for women, which is benefited to women, okay, and this scheme may inadvertently reinforce kind of traditional gender roles and discrimination against men. कोई ऐसी स्कीम बनाई women के लिए जिस जो इनडायरेक्टली डिस्क्रिमिनेशन क्रिएट होने लगा men के अगेंस्ट में. गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? तो ये कुछ ऐसी चीजें होती हैं. देन अब आपके में टॉपिक है सिलेबस में डेवलपमेंट एंड वेलफेयर स्कीम्स. ओके, सो that you can take that heading as it is here, development and welfare schemes which are designed to promote positive discrimination. Getting my point? To promote positive discrimination. तो ये जो वेलफेयर स्कीम्स बनाई जाती हैं, ये किस लिए बनाई जाती हैं? डेवलपमेंट एंड वेलफेयर के लिए. इट इज क्रिएटेड फॉर डेवलपमेंट एंड वेलफेयर अप्रोच. क्योंकि जो भी स्कीम आती है, याद रखिएगा, उसमें याद रखिएगा कि सबसे मेन हम होता है इक्वालिटी. इक्वालिटी कैसे लाई जाए? इक्वालिटी वर्सेस इक्विटी. दिस इज द इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग. क्लियर? देन दूसरा एम होता है सोशल जस्टिस. इसको समझाओ. क्लियर? सोशल जस्टिस, that development and welfare schemes are often designed to address historical and structural inequalities. Then another aim of developmental scheme is inclusive growth. Inclusive growth. Then it should narrows the economic stratification. Narrows the economic stratification. Clear? So ये सारी चीजें mention करो. And then last में conclusion लिख लो. So whether development and welfare schemes are discriminatory in approach, okay, and it now depends on how they are structured and implemented. Okay, while some may involve with the targeted approaches which seems discriminatory on the surface, but वो targeted approach इसलिए होता है क्योंकि ये उनके लिए होती है जिनके साथ हमेशा से historically injustice हुआ है. Getting my point? So this is how you should uh, mention your answer. Getting my point? That is the important thing. Now, another question number 18, which is related to skill development programs. Now, skill development programs have succeeded in increasing human resources supply to various sectors. Full stop. In the context of the statement, analyze the linkages between education, skill and employment. तो जितने लोग थे क्लास में, ये मैंने पूरी एज इट इज चीज बताई हुई है. ओके, व्हाट आर द लिंकेजेस बिटवीन एजुकेशन, स्किल एंड एम्प्लॉयमेंट. ओके, ये सारी चीजें हमने देखी हुई हैं. सो सबसे पहले तो आप इसकी आंसर की शुरुआत करिए एक बढ़िया इंट्रोडक्शन के साथ. ओके, सो इंट्रोडक्शन में आप मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ स्किल डेवलपमेंट एंड एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप के थ्रू लिखिए. एम, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ स्किल डेवलपमेंट एंड एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप. ओके, तो इनकी एक रिपोर्ट आई है. ओवर 100 million ऑफ पीपल हैव बीन ट्रेन्ड थ्रू वेरियस स्किल डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम्स लाइक नेशनल स्किल इंडिया मिशन. National Skill India Mission. That is also very important. Then PM Kaushal Vikas Yojana. Okay, PMKY. Okay, these things. PM um, PM KVY. PM Kaushal Vikas Yojana. Clear? So these are some important things. Then आप इसका लिंकेज बताइए. बॉडी में आपको सिंपल जो आपने नोट्स में लिखा था, मैंने आपको बताया था, सिंपली वो चीजें लिख दो. linkages between education, skill and employment. Getting my point? तो पहला तो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज, एजुकेशन हर चीज का फाउंडेशन है। एजुकेशन इज द फाउंडेशन ऑफ एवरीथिंग। एजुकेशन एज अ फाउंडेशन। ओके, सो बेसिक एजुकेशन इज नेसेसरी। बेसिक एजुकेशन, हायर एजुकेशन देन, okay, basic education like primary and secondary schooling. Higher education like plays an important role in specialized fields and professions. Okay, then skill development as a complement, skill development एक complement के तौर पे, development as complement, clear? Now skill development like technical and vocational trainings, technical vocational trainings, getting my point? Then soft skills. Now the question here is soft skills. Soft skills like communication, teamwork, problem solving, ये सब आजकल important है. So recently एक report आई थी, India Skill Report, which reveals that improvement in overall employability among young people. Okay, जो काफी बड़ा है. Then employment एक goal है. Employment is the goal. So education is the foundation, skill development complement, and employment is the goal. This is how you should mention these things in your answer. Getting my point? And then you can conclude your answer. So the question is very easy. Clear? Now, another question, that is question 19th. बहुत important है, बहुत interesting भी है question ये. The expansion and strengthening of NATO and a stronger US-Europe strategic partnerships works well for India. Now, what is your opinion about this statement? Give reasons and examples to support your answer. This is related to international relations. Now, how to write introduction? See, आपको ओपिनियन देना है स्टेटमेंट के रिलेटेड. नाउ कॉन्टेक्स्ट क्या है, स्टेटमेंट क्या है, एक्सपेंशन और स्ट्रेंथन जो हो रहा है नेटो एंड अ स्ट्रॉन्गर यूएस यूरोप स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप विच वर्क्स वेल फॉर इंडिया. तो इंडिया के सपोर्ट में आपको आंसर देना है. सो यू हैव टू स्टार्ट विद द इंट्रोडक्शन. इंट्रोडक्शन से शुरुआत करें आप. दैट इंडिया जो है, इट इज इंक्रीजिंगली बिकमिंग द सेंटर ऑफ gravity, center of everything in this multipolar world order. Okay, and India as a democratic country should develop good relations with West. Okay, for rule based order, for peace, for economic, for political, for security order. That is important. Now the context here is NATO expansion and strengthening working well for India. Now in body of the answer, NATO expansion, okay, and strengthening working well for India. Working well for India. That is important. Yeah. Now, how? Okay. First of all, इंडिया को नेटो और वेस्ट का साथ चाहिए ही चाहिए टू डिसएनकरेज चाइनाज एग्रेशन. सो नेटो इज इंपॉर्टेंट डेटरेंस अगेंस्ट एग्रेशन. डेटरेंस अगेंस्ट एग्रेशन. Remember this one. Okay. Deterrence against aggression. So, strong NATO can act as deterrent against potential aggression by the state. Okay. Then, for norms and values, also very important. Norms and values. Now, it will help the founding principles of NATO, okay, like democracy, human rights, rule of law, and these are in alignment with India's commitment also to democratic governance and also human rights. Then this is important for counter-terrorism. So counter-terrorism is one of the global concerns in 21st century. Getting my point? So this is also, so as you know that NATO is leading contributor to peacekeeping operations. So NATO can collaborate with India in peacekeeping and to reinforce multiplier in United Nations Security Council against terrorism. Then for maritime security also it is very important. Maritime security. ओके, तो नेटो का जो एक्सपेंशन है वो काफी हेल्प करेगा इंडिया का जो विजन है सागर का सिक्योरिटी एंड ग्रोथ फॉर ऑल। ओके, जिससे इंडिया टैकल कर सकता है रीजनल इश्यूज लाइक पायरेसी, इलीगल एक्टिविटीज इन इंडियन ओशन वाटर्स। क्लियर? देन स्ट्रॉन्गर यूएस and Europe strategic partnership, it works well for India. Yes, that is true. Okay, stronger Europe, US Europe strategic partnership. It works well for India. Now the question how? पहली चीज balance of power. Okay, so see, countering China's aggressive stance in Europe, Asia and Indo-Pacific, it is very important. चाइना की जो डिप्लोमेसी है वॉल फॉर डिप्लोमेसी उसको काउंटर करने के लिए, so it will also bring security and stability in Europe. Stability in Europe. ओके, तो ये सारी चीजें आप मेंशन कर सकते हैं। इट वुड क्रिएट मोर फेवरेबल ग्लोबल इकोनॉमिक एनवायरनमेंट, जिससे इंडिया जो है काफी सारी इन्वेस्टमेंट्स आएंगी एंड दिस रिजल्ट्स इनटू इंडस्ट्रियल डेवलपमेंट। ओके, देन टेक्नोलॉजी ट्रांसफर आल्सो। ओके, टेक ट्रांसफर एज वेल। क्लियर? देन दिस विल आल्सो क्रिएट मल्टीलैटरल डिप्लोमेसी। मल्टीलैटरल आप डिप्लोमेसी को एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हैं। multilateral diplomacy, कैसे both US and Europe active international they are active in international organizations like G20 and the United Nations। तो ये इंडिया को हेल्प करेंगे काफी सारी अपॉर्चुनिटीज के साथ, और इंडिया काफी ज्यादा बेनिफिट होगा इंडिया को ऑन ग्लोबल इश्यूज, एंड दिस विल आल्सो furthering India's claim to United Nations Security Council for permanent seat. Clear? So this may also create concerns for India, for example, geopolitical complexities in Indo-Pacific. Okay. Then apart from this, mm, आप देख सकते हैं that strengthening NATO and stronger US Europe, they might introduce a competition between regional powers like India and China. Okay, ये भी काफी important है। Then regional dynamics भी हमें समझना है। Regional dynamics because India has complex network of relationship in the region. ओके, तो यूएस यूरोप के जो रिलेशंस है दिस माइट कॉज डैमेज टू इंडियाज डेलिकेट बैलेंसिंग ऑफ दीज रिलेशंस। ओके, तो ये कुछ चीजें हैं जो आप मेंशन कर सकते हैं। देन कोल्ड वॉर लाइक सिचुएशन इज देयर एज चाइना अलोंग विद रशिया विल लुक टू काउंटर स्ट्रॉन्गर नेटो। चाइना रशिया के साथ मिलके नेटो को काउंटर करने की कोशिश करेगा एंड रशिया इज हैविंग गुड रिलेशंस विद इंडिया। So overall, if you see, in conclusion, you can mention India's strategic autonomy will remain a guiding light to navigate the great powers rivalry. And India's main aim is to pursue its national interest. Getting my point? This is important. Okay. So this is how you should write this answer. Then the last question is, sea is an important component of cosmos. Discussed in the light of above statement of role of IMO, International Maritime Organization, in protecting environment and enhancing maritime safety and security. So I would like to mention here one scholar whose name is A.T. Mahan, Alfred Thayer Mahan, who said that the you can mention that seas a very important part of global politics because seas connect the land. So those who control the oceans will control the world. Getting my point? This is how you should start your answer. So sea holds important role and plays within the cosmos because it forms a part of global commons. तो इस तरीके से आप अपने इंट्रोडक्शन में मेंशन कर सकते हैं कि सी जो है, ओके, नो सी जो है, इट एक्चुअली पार्ट ऑफ ग्लोबल कॉमन्स, global commons. Okay, so it helps in sustaining life on Earth. So the International Maritime Organization has its important role in safeguarding the environment through its various initiatives and guidelines. Now, what is the contribution of International Maritime Organization? This you have to write in body of the answer. Contribution of IMO. Okay, पहला जो contribution है protecting the environment. The environment. Now, protecting the environment through water management. Okay, then तो water management है. मैंने हमेशा आपको कहा है कि हमेशा एक सब्जेक्ट को दूसरे सब्जेक्ट से कनेक्ट करके पढ़िए. देयर इज अ कन्वेंशन कॉल्ड एज मार्पोल कन्वेंशन. मार्पोल कन्वेंशन. ओके, तो ये जो आईएमओ का मैरीटाइम ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का मार्पोल कन्वेंशन है, दिस रेगुलेट्स एंड प्रिवेंट्स various types of pollutions from ships like oil pollution, chemical pollution, sewage and air emissions. Then energy efficiency regulations are there. Energy efficiency regulations. Okay, so there are various emergency efficiency regulations जो regulate करते हैं energy efficiency of ships, जो reduce करते हैं green house gas emissions को. Clear? Then global sulfur cap. Global sulfur cap. Now, global sulfur cap reducing permissible sulfur content in the fuel oil which is used in the ships. And ये भी याद रखिएगा, it reduces air pollution from shipping industry. Getting my point? Now, enhancing maritime safety and security as well, because this is also there. Okay, how to enhance maritime security and safety. So now try to understand. Enhancing maritime safety and security. Okay. Now, for this, there is a convention called as SOLAS Convention. SOLAS, this is an international convention for the safety of life at sea, and this is for the safety of merchant ships. तो इस कन्वेंशन में कुछ स्टैंडर्ड सेट किए गए हैं फॉर शिप कंस्ट्रक्शन इक्विपमेंट एंड ऑपरेशंस. ओके, सो दैट इट कैन ensure the safety of life at sea. Then apart from this, security measures are there. Security measures. Okay, now this introduced ISPS code. एक कोड होता है ISPS कोड. ओके, इस कोड से याद रखिएगा जो पोर्ट्स पे सिक्योरिटी होती है वो एनहेंस की जाती है, शिप्स पे वेसल्स को सेफगार्ड किया जाता है एंड कार्गो को सेफगार्ड किया जाता है. देन जो सबसे बड़ा खतरा है वो है पायरेसी एंड आर्म्ड रॉबरी. पायरेसी एंड आर्म्ड रॉबरी. ओके, नाउ piracy and armed robbery countermeasures have been taken. So various international organizations and naval forces, they are collaborating with each other so that they can address piracy and armed robbery issues. Clear? Then another important thing, SAR, that is search and rescue. Okay, सर्च एंड रेस्क्यू. तो ये जो इंटरनेशनल मैरीटाइम ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, सर्च एंड रेस्क्यू प्लान जो इनका है, ये इंश्योर करता है कि सर्च एंड रेस्क्यू सर्विसेज शुड बी अवेलेबल ग्लोबली. Okay, which will save lives and improve the overall safety of maritime navigation. So at last you can conclude your answer that with these regulations, with important and best practices, international collaborations, okay, this ensures International Maritime Organization ensures safety maritime operations. So these things are pivotal for both planet's well-being as well as global economy. So I hope this much is clear. Finally, we have discussed this whole question paper of GS paper 2. Okay, so आई होप दिस मच इज क्लियर एंड जल्द से जल्द जितने लोग प्रिपरेशन करना चाहते हैं जल्द से जल्द एनरोल करें और अपनी प्रिपरेशन को एक नया डायरेक्शन दें। और मैं फिर ये कहूंगा कि कोचिंग के साथ साथ टेस्ट सीरीज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है और साथ ही साथ फीडबैक एंड इवैल्यूएशन। तो बहुत सारी चीजें, बहुत सारे कोर्सेज अब हमने लॉन्च किए हुए हैं, आप एनरोल कर सकते हैं। काइंडली आप हमें कॉल कर सकते हैं इन दिए हुए नंबर्स पर। ओके, 9319725559 then 7982044915। okay, so thank you so much।